Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, coast to coast and globally. Glad you could tune in today. Great to be with you always. We love being here 5 days a week, a couple of hours a day, live, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern. Show does air in different times in different markets. Check your local listings. You can watch the show live at letstalknutrition.com when we air live. Everything's on demand as well. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I know many of you are football fans and get caught up in all of that. The Steelers, probably one of the worst games that Roethlisberger has had in his entire career. Threw 5 interceptions. He was dreadful.
Did you throw anything at the TV?
No. I couldn't watch it. I can't watch it. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh. I'm a Steelers fan, always have been since I was a little boy. And when they were bums and when they were the best. Yeah, they're still very good. They're very good. And I know fans are fans and everybody has their favorites. But for sentimental reasons, I'm a Steelers fan and a Pirates fan. You know, can't help it. And the problem with football is that people sit for long periods of time and eat tempting and unhealthy foods, so be careful. I did spend some time, I want to share it with you. When you do this kind of show, you have to keep pushing yourself. You have to keep looking for the new, and you have to keep reviewing the old. What do I mean? You have to stay tuned. You have to dial into the cutting-edge research, but you should never forget, and you should always revisit the research that was done that laid the foundation for where we are now. And in the world of chemistry and biology and nutrition, even though he wasn't considered a nutritionist, was Linus Pauling, Dr. Pauling. An unassuming man, not a headline seeker per se, did wear his little beret, though. His signature, one of his signature characteristics. And Dr. Pauling, of course, there's the Linus Pauling Institute. That's still going on, and they're still, go to their website. They do very well. I like it. And so I went back, and I wanted to see what he had to say about vitamin C. Now, in this, like today, my guest is going to be Dominique Ostrander. We're going to talk about nicotinamide riboside, okay? On the horizon now, and in the present-day context, all of these different compounds that get put into supplements and whatnot are occupying our attention, and for good reason. They are interesting compounds, chemically speaking, and have interesting effects on our biology. But vitamin C, it's not a good grade to get in school, but it is something that we need to have in our body. What's interesting about vitamin C, we don't make it. Our species, other mammals, now there are many animals that make their vitamin C. We don't. Dr. Pauling has an interesting idea about that. At one time, perhaps we did. But as time went on and we evolved, the planet evolved, and plants evolved, we learned to eat fruit. Fruit is high in vitamin C. So what we did, rather than selecting, we selected, genetically speaking, we selected not to make it. In other words, we deselected vitamin C. I think at one point in time, we could make it. And then at another point in time, not so much. And I watched a lecture that he gave, I believe it was at Stanford. Unassuming, he was in a classroom. And there were doctors in the room. And he was talking about vitamin C. And he was talking about coronary artery disease. among other diseases that afflict humankind, cancer, diabetes, and so on. Humans, and then there's certain primates too. Gary, if you could look up animals that don't make vitamin C, and you'll see the list here, and what's interesting, the animals that don't make vitamin C are prone to coronary artery disease. We're among them. So I revisited and I watched this video. It's like almost an hour and some change, I believe. And I was taking notes. Here are my notes. You know what the notes are on? My State Farm envelope for my bill. I was so intrigued, I couldn't even get up to get the paper. I couldn't stop watching it. And I had the bill sitting, so I tore open the envelope and I started taking notes. And I reminded myself of how important he was. You know, at one point in time, he was ridiculed. This is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Dr. Pauling was a fabulous chemist. He was so bright and so unassuming and smart and had a simple approach to things, but sensible. And when he started talking about vitamin C and colds, vitamin C and heart disease, vitamin C and cancer, some of his colleagues abandoned him and began to criticize him. I'll tell you how down to earth he is. At one point in the video, he makes a comment. He said, you know, there's people that say, well, taking supplements is a waste of time, that you just, he didn't say it but this way, but you end up disposing of them, you know, peeing them out is what he wanted to say. And he said, I didn't do any more experiments, but I had my students did. He said, but I did an experiment on myself. He said, I was taking 10 grams of vitamin C a day with lysine. And then what he did was he checked his urine. And what he found was there was 1.5 grams in the urine. And he said, so I was not just getting rid of the vitamin C in my urine. I was using most of it. And he said, I wanted to see if that myth was true. He said, I used myself as an experiment. He didn't tell anybody. He just wanted to see for himself. So that's what I mean when I say he's down to earth and he's very simple in his approach. How many times have you heard that myth? Oh, taking supplements, you just, you know, they just get dispensed of in waste material in one form or another. You know what I mean. And so he wanted to check it, and he did, and used himself. So he was taking 10 grams a day, which he recommends, with a commensurate amount of lysine to prevent coronary artery disease and reverse it, which is a whole story unto itself. So this week I'm going to spend some time in my monologues talking a little bit about Dr. Pauling. And just, you know, the way he talks, that whole lecture, he was pretty elderly in this lecture, but he took his time, slow-paced, no notes. The doctors sitting in the room were taking notes. And I learned a lot. And the whole idea of vitamin C, just simple vitamin C. Did you find a list of animals?
Yes. And I was kind of impressed. It was kind of interesting.
Which ones do not make vitamin C?
Monkeys, flying mammals, people.
Because the list is pretty long, right?
Yeah.
All right, we come back. We'll talk more about this.
And guinea pigs.
Yeah, guinea pigs are, well, let me tell you, I'll tell you a little story about guinea pigs when we come back.
If you've ever...
I'm Joy McCarthy, holistic nutritionist, and I expect more from my multivitamin.
I've researched many vitamins, and what's truly different about Every Woman's One Daily from New Chapter is that it's fermented with probiotics and whole foods and gentle even on an empty stomach. Every Woman's One Daily helps you feel good every day, giving you immune, energy, and stress support, and nutrients for bone and heart health. You will notice a difference. Every Woman's One Daily recently won the Best Multivitamin Award, and I love that it's non-GMO project verified. Discover the wisdom of nature with New Chapter.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce.
Good old vitamin C. Probably for many who take supplements or natural health or just into health generally, sometimes forget about these compounds and don't get enough of them. Today my guest will be Dominique Ostrander. We're going to talk about the use and misuse of dietary supplements, and she wants to talk about nicotinamide riboside, right? You can see that these kind of compounds are occupying our attention these days. There's nothing wrong with that. Science has to keep advancing, and nutrition science in particular. But we should not forget some of the foundational principles upon which our biology is based, and the notion of evolution and how we selected and deselected for certain features and characteristics in our biologically speaking. And turns out that vitamin C, which is called ascorbic acid, ascorbate or L-ascorbic acid, it's found in food, and it's used as a dietary supplement. That's not breaking news. It certainly had made its importance known when it was found that it helped to prevent scurvy. And of course, people no longer suffer from scurvy now, at least in the way they once did. There are foods containing vitamin C: citrus fruits, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, raw bell peppers, strawberries, fruits generally. Lots of vitamin C. Turns out in our evolution, because of the dietary availability of vitamin C, we selected, if you will, in natural selection, not to make it. Now, there are other species of animals that do make it. Humans do not produce vitamin C because of a mutation in what's called the glucan lactone oxidase.
It's easier for you to say.
It is. Glucan lactone. It's hard. It's a mouthful. That's a gene that results in our inability to make the protein. It's GULO. Gulo. That's an enzyme that catalyzes the reaction with this GULO and oxygen. Long story short, we end up not being able, because of that mutation, not being able to synthesize ascorbic acid.
Okay, so my question is vitamin C, should you take vitamin C if you're going to get sick, if you think you're getting sick?
Dr. Pauling would say yes. He insisted, and people were trying to laugh him out of the room, and he insisted until the end that vitamin C could help prevent common colds, could help recover faster, and it just conferred a health benefit that you otherwise would not be able to obtain with other compounds. That was his position.
That simple.
That's simple. And when you read his articles, he published over 1,000, literally 1,000 articles and books. I mean, he was a prolific writer. And watching the lecture yesterday with him, he was talking about, he spent a lot of time in the video talking about coronary artery disease. It turns out that he said cholesterol is a factor in causing heart disease, but it is his position that it is lipoprotein A, lipo-A, which is a surrogate for ascorbate, is responsible in large measure for the plaquing in the arteries. And lipoprotein A is a surrogate for ascorbic acid at the metabolic level. And he believed as plasma levels of ascorbate go down, plasma levels of lipoprotein A go up for coronary artery disease, cancer, type 2 diabetes, for example. And in the animals that cannot make vitamin C, we see those diseases in a prolific form. Humans in particular. You don't have enough ascorbate, you make less collagen. If you make less collagen, your arterial wall gets weakened. and is unable to repair naturally without using cholesterol as plaster to repair it. Moreover, ascorbate is an antioxidant, he argues in the video, and it prevents peroxidation of cholesterol in the plaque. And he's right about that. There's a lot of research to support that. So, yes, he says cholesterol is a factor, but it's lipoprotein A that's responsible for the plaquing. And he explains how and in what way that's the case in the video. I'll talk more about this as the week goes on and explain it in detail. But this is just a reminder that, yes, like today, for example, we'll be talking about a compound that some people don't even know about that are listening and watching this show, nicotinamide riboside. But we should not forget some of these fundamental compounds that are found in food and have found their way into dietary supplementation. Dr. Pauling believed at least 10 grams a day, and he was taking an equivalent amount of lysine with it. And then Dr. Rath, one of his colleagues, once a student of his, picked it up, and I'll explain with.
The perfect complement to your beauty regimen? Try Form Essentials Zinnia. The finest of its kind, Zinnia offers twice as much biotin as other formulas, which has proven to unlock the vibrancy in even the dullest of hair, skin, and nails. Zinnia breaks through and rejuvenates cells internally, helping you achieve the allure of effortless beauty. Reviving your hair, skin, and nails has never been easier. This essential blend of biotin, alpha-lipoic, and hyaluronic acid, collagen, and vitamin C creates lasting enhancements to your natural good looks. Don't go on wondering, you're worth the results. This combination of ingredients can only be found in Zinnia. Pamper yourself with a proven bit of affordable luxury and start looking your best. Ask for Zinnia by name at your nearest vitamin retailer to begin your journey to restored nails, head-turning hair, and radiant skin today. For more information, visit formessentials.com.
When your alarm goes off, do you jump out of bed with excitement? Or does it take multiple alarms, a few snooze buttons, or a morning caffeine fix to get you going? These habits and daily stress cause a vicious cycle in which sleep becomes increasingly elusive. In fact, 54% of Americans report struggles to fall or stay asleep. For a better night's rest, look no further than Solace, an all-natural dietary supplement that supports healthy sleep and relaxation, so you get the rest you need to wake up clear-eyed, alert, and ready for the day. Solace has given thousands a better night's rest and the power to take back their mornings while enjoying the day ahead of them. Solace is formulated with non-addictive, scientifically proven, all-natural ingredients that support sleep and relaxation, such as melatonin, tryptophan, and 5-HTP. For more information or to order Solace, visit takesolace.com. Solace, for healthy sleep naturally.
L-gulonolactone oxidase. Turns out that is an enzyme that we lost in our evolution, and when that happened, we were unable to make vitamin C. When we were unable to make vitamin C, that led to the propensity, at least according to Dr. Pauling and others, to develop coronary artery disease, cancer, type 2 diabetes, and other chronic diseases. Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. This week I will pay more attention to Dr. Pauling in some of my monologues and try to address what he was talking about, lest we forget about the fundamentals of nutrition and these compounds that have been long-standing, and we've learned a lot, thousands and thousands of studies on these different compounds like vitamin C. My guest today is Dominique Ostrander. She's an educator for Jarrow Formulas. They know a thing or two about dietary supplements, or vitamins as they're sometimes called, and vitamin C. Do you guys still sell vitamin C, Dominique?
We do, actually.
In one form, or do you have different SKUs on it?
No, we only have one form.
And what's it say on the bottle? Vitamin C?
It does, actually, yeah. Believe it or not, it actually says vitamin C on it.
Yeah.
It's interesting what you were reading, the article that you were, or in the video that you were. I tuned in a little bit later, but it was very interesting. I happen to take 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C every day.
Take it with L-Lysine. If you take an equal amount of L-Lysine, and then Dr. Rath, who was at one point a student with Dr. Pauling, and then became a physician, considered also proline, and he added proline to the formulation, vitamin C, L-Lysine, and proline, and believed that was prophylactically required against coronary artery disease and could also reverse coronary artery disease. But if you take at least an equal amount of lysine, he thinks that it confers a health benefit that in the long run, at least 10 grams a day of each.
Interesting.
Now, I know people that know Dr. Pauling, that knew Dr. Pauling, and worked with Dr. Pauling, and they tell me that he was taking upwards of as much as 20 grams a day of vitamin C, ascorbate, ascorbic acid. Now, he was ridiculed. They ridiculed him at one point for all of this work. And I don't know. For some reason, he was on my mind, and I said, let me revisit him. And I went back, and I was looking at some of his lectures, and you'll find bits and pieces of them here and there. But the one lecture, I believe, was at Stanford that I watched. It's like an hour long. He's so unassuming, Dominique. When he stands there, he's standing in front, he's in a classroom. He's not in this giant auditorium. He's just a simple little man, standing there with his little beret. He's quite elderly in the video, and very quietly and calmly begins to weave this narrative about vitamin C. And he believes it's lipoprotein A that is the culprit in coronary artery disease. Cholesterol, he says, to be sure, is implicated, but it's lipoprotein A, and vitamin C can, I don't want to get into how that works, but will counteract the lipoprotein A. So I just thought I'd pay a little tribute to him. Go ahead.
There's a lot of studies that were out with vitamin C and arterial flexibility, so to speak, preventing arterial stiffness. So maybe that's all part of what lipoprotein A does.
Well, lipoprotein A adheres. There are receptors on the arterial walls, and it gets a little complicated. I don't want to get into it now because it does get tedious. I have to find a way to talk about it that I can put it in simple terms. It makes me appreciate the way Dr. Pauling was able to talk about it. And as I watched that video, how simply he was able to explain it, which tells me, how well trained and deep, the depth and breadth of his chemistry knowledge and facility with chemistry. I mean, he was amazing, just amazing to talk with such ease. It assumes such a depth and breadth of knowledge to do that.
If your arteries are bad, that's what leads to bypass surgery?
Absolutely. When that plaquing starts, Gary, and you plaque to the point where then the plaque breaks off, then you have a heart attack. I mean, absolutely. And it's tears in the endothelium. When you get these little tears, and the tears can be caused by any number of things. Free radicals from smoking, food, chemicals, toxins, excessive lipo-A, whatever. And once those tears start to happen, then the repair starts to happen, and the plaquing is a form of repair. But if you keep if you have the same injury all the time in the artery, it keeps repairing and it uses cholesterol to do that too.
Right.
So the arteries get clogged. But there's a bunch of evidence to suggest that they can reverse it, Dominique. I don't know. There's probably some cardiologist laughing, saying that's impossible. But I'm just saying. I'll talk more about it. How you doing?
I'm very good. How about you?
Hanging in there. We're doing okay. You wanted to talk about nicotinamide riboside.
I did.
Yeah. Poor Dr. Pauling, he never had a chance to talk about he didn't have a chance to talk about nicotinamide riboside. Why did you want to focus on that?
Well, it's one of those supplements that unless you've done some research or reading, it's not it's more of a destination type of product. And so when you walk into a health food store and you're browsing the shelves and everything and you see this name on a bottle, chances are you're going to walk right by it unless you know what it does. And so I thought that we would talk about the importance of nicotinamide riboside, especially for cellular energy, for better aging, if you want to support mitochondrial energy production, and most importantly, enhance NAD levels, and why that's so important.
This is interesting. So would you say that one of the themes that in which nicotinamide riboside is situated, one of the thematic contexts is energy?
For sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, the synthesis of energy, or the transformation of energy, the use of energy. Law of thermodynamics would say that we don't make energy. We don't. We transform it, but we don't make it. We're going to get into this nicotinamide riboside. Somebody might say, well, that sounds pretty exotic. I don't need it. And I have enough energy. I will see how you address that when we come back from these important messages. Even if a person has enough energy, is that a rationale not to take it? We'll see.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
Today is the use and misuse of dietary supplements. Now, when you look at the survey literature, which I have in detail, different surveys done by different organizations and health institutions or governmental, for that matter, you find out that people take supplements. They use them for a variety of reasons. One is to improve their health. Others to fill in gaps in their diet. Others to try and cure a disease, which is a waste of time because supplements nor pharmaceuticals do that. They don't cure anything. Okay? Let's be clear about that. And anybody tells you otherwise, don't listen to them, turn around and walk away. If they say to you, taking drug X or supplement Y cures this or that, they're talking foolishness. They don't cure. The body cures itself. They provide the conditions to help the body. You're looking at me funny.
I'm okay.
Right? You're wondering.
You have to simplify it for me. Hold on.
All right. Let's see. Dominique, explain to Gary what I mean by that supplements or pharmaceuticals don't cure anything.
Well, oh my gosh, that's a big question. They don't cure anything because the disease process has already begun. And so as far as being able to look at something as a cure, they have their own. So, for example, if you were to treat a condition like a cold or a bacterial sinus infection, not a viral infection, but a bacterial sinus infection, and you were given an antibiotic. So an antibiotic would cure the sinus infection, but at the same time, it would cause the disruption. It might cause, let's say, a yeast infection in a woman. Okay. So there are consequences to pharmaceuticals. There are not quite as many consequences to nutraceuticals, but there's no cure. I would say, am I answering this right? Nutraceuticals will tend to work more prophylactically than pharmaceuticals will, although there are some classes of pharmaceuticals, too, that can act preventatively. So we know that, like, PPIs or proton pump inhibitors can prevent GERD, for example, which chronic GERD can lead to Barrett's esophagus. So but then again, chronic PPI use causes its own problems. It makes the patient, when they're admitted into a hospital, at much higher risk for developing C. diff. So there's all. Are we following me?
Yeah. But so what you're saying, it doesn't solve the underlying problem, though, because if you stop taking it, you're not cured. It's not fixed. You still have to take whatever. Okay.
Right, which is where homeopathic medicine comes in. So homeopaths believe in bringing the body back to that very balanced state. So they're not looking at things curatively. They're looking at things more preventatively, bringing the body into a total balance and sort of this synchronistic relationship with all their cells.
Right.
Yeah, this gets into, this is one of the misuses of dietary supplements, to go with the theme for today. People take supplements to cure atherosclerosis, okay, or to cure osteoarthritis. There's not a supplement in the world that's going to cure osteoarthritis. It's just not going to happen. Supplements can moderate and ameliorate, make less the damage and the pain associated with osteoarthritis, but it's not going to cure osteoarthritis, right? Not going to cure it. Cure it means to heal it, make it better. Depends on how we operationalize cure and what cure means. Now, you can come up with some definition of cure that's going to allow you to include a nutraceutical or pharmaceutical into the definition such that you can say, yes, you see, it does cure because of my definition of cure. And this does confuse people. The body is what's curing itself in the end, not the drug or the supplement. It's the body. You are providing Who builds the house? The builder or the tools? Or the materials? The builder builds the house, but needs the materials to build the house. The body cures itself, but needs the materials to cure it. Is that metaphor?
Okay,
You
yeah.
follow that? You have the builder, and then you have the materials to build the house. The materials don't build the house. The builder builds the house, but needs the materials to build the house.
So, like diabetes. Okay, there's several people in my family that suffer from diabetes.
Type 2 diabetes.
Yes,
Right.
and I have now tried to eliminate as much sugar from my diet as I can.
Right. Processed foods, we talked about that.
Right.
So you're giving your body a chance to do what?
Heal itself.
Heal itself.
Okay. And so now there's another member of my family that refuses to change their diet because they are
Can't.
taking insulin.
Right. And they think that the insulin gives them a license to continue eating the way they want to,
Right.
and that the insulin is going to cure their diabetes and they can still eat the lemon meringue pie.
And that's not going to work, right?
Cuando los puercos huelen. That means when pigs fly in Spanish. Cuando los puercos huelen. When pigs fly, that will happen. Dominique walked. So that works, right? The builder builds the house, but needs the materials to build the house. The body cures itself, but needs the materials to cure itself. And that's what nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals do. Does that do violence to your understanding?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a great analogy. I think it's giving the bricks. You know, it's like we say when we add in protein, right? When somebody's doing, like when somebody's weightlifting, right? And they're taking in forms of protein that have essential amino acids in them. And so amino acids are the building blocks for synthesizing muscle.
Right.
And protein are the building blocks. And without those materials, you can't build the muscle.
And another metaphor I can use is that the body is like the conductor of a symphony orchestra, right? It's directing the instruments, the musicians, to play in a certain way. Biologically speaking, the body is the conductor of the biological processes. It's the biology that's causing the cure, ultimately. But you need to have the materials for the biology to work. Like today, nicotinamide riboside, in order biologically to make energy conversion in the mitochondria, Dominique's going to talk about how this compound, which is relatively new on the scene as far as supplements go, is a good choice. She'll explain, and the theme is the use and misuse. So one misuse of dietary supplements is to believe that it cures something. No, it doesn't. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in today. Speaking truth to power. And what that means. And when you're talking about the use and misuse of dietary supplements, you have to do that. I advocate for the use of dietary supplements. I think they serve a wonderful purpose. They're legitimate. There's science to support them. The use of them, the manufacture and the use of them, no question about it. But they are, I think sometimes they're highly overrated, overused, and misused. And we must be careful about that. You might be surprised to hear me say that. I said that the other day when I said they're highly overrated. Gary, one of my producers, looked at me, took a second, like a double take, whiplash. He said, "What do you?" I could read the look on his face. "What are you saying? You got supplement companies that sponsor the show. They would want me to say that. The good ones, like Jarrow formulas, Jarrow Rogovan himself would tell you that. I am sure. Dominique Ostrander, one of the educators for Jarrow formulas, would tell you that. People sometimes, the misuse, they take supplements for the wrong reasons. And another misuse is that people will take them like smokers. And there's some studies to show this. They will take supplements to be able to continue smoking because they think that if they take enough antioxidants, that's going to counteract the free radicals that are created by those the thousands of toxic chemicals found in the smoke. And so people misuse them in that way. They take them to justify the continued violation of a diet or lifestyle factor or variable or principle. And that's not a reason to take dietary supplements.
But that doesn't make any common sense.
Well, to you it doesn't. Maybe not to me and the listeners and viewers of the show, but there are people that will do that, Gary, because they don't want to make the change.
But you have to make lifestyle changes to make yourself healthier.
To change.
I mean, I've learned that over the year.
All right, so one example. Gary himself. Gary, he's a human being. He's not a project. But for the past year, I've been working with him in his effort to lose weight. And we've had ups and downs, on focus, out of focus, on the rails, off the rails. It's been all over the place. Moments of success, moments of not so much. But now he's at 276 pounds. You're saying, oh my God. It was at 318 for heaven's sake. When he came on board for the show. And he told me just a few moments ago, this show, I talk a lot about a lot of dark things on here. I know that. There's a lot of bad news, but I like good news. And he just told me off air, we were waiting to come on for the second hour. He said, "Doc, I was able to wear an Under Armour shirt." He said, "That's the first time I've been able to wear an Under Armour shirt in years." And he's wearing today a nice blue polo shirt. He's come into this studio with shirts on that were a sack that somebody sewed buttons on. Looked like. Because he couldn't wear anything else. Now, to some, they may not sound like a big deal, but it's a big deal for him. And that's success. And he didn't do that by taking supplements. We did that by talking about his diet, his lifestyle, what changes he had to make, and this and that. A lot of conversation and taking supplements and changing his diet and changing his lifestyle and changing his relationship with food in essence. And it's been an adventure, hasn't it?
It has. I mean, so like the first thing I started taking was the greens products.
Right. Because he wasn't getting enough vegetables and fruit, and I knew he wasn't going to start eating them right away, so we got that going.
And then we did the fiber.
I said, fiber is a key to losing weight. Eat more fiber, you'll lose weight.
And then the magnesium.
Right. And the fiber will help control his glucose and insulin levels as well, because it helps slow down the release of sugar into the blood. Once it gets broken down in your gets into the small intestine and released, in form of glucose, for example, the carbohydrate, it slows that down, especially the soluble fiber. Go ahead.
Okay, and then we went to the BioSil for the joint pain.
Right, because I was trying to help him with that. Turns out that BioSil, in conjunction with vitamin C, is fabulous for the collagen matrix, which is a fundamental and important strategy in cardiovascular disease. I'll explain another day. Go ahead.
Okay, and then now we're in the gym.
So, little by little. Now, this has been up and down. And when I was in the middle of chemotherapy and radiation, I was pretty sick. I couldn't put a lot of attention on him and focus. And he drifted a little bit, and I was hanging on. But now I'm feeling a little better, more focused myself. I can put more time on him, and he can put more time on himself. And he's now at 276. You should feel good about that.
I haven't, yeah. When I was so excited when I got below 280. Did I tell you what I did? So I woke up, I weighed myself, and it said 278. I ran nude across the house.
What?
Grabbed my phone.
That's quite an image.
You gotta think about this. I grabbed my phone. I turned my camera on.
To show who?
Yeah, to show you. I took a picture.
No, I don't want to see that.
I took a picture.
You took a picture of your on the scale.
Of the scale. And then I was almost in tears because I haven't been under 280 pounds since 2011.
Okay. So we're sharing this narrative with you by way of saying that one of the misuses of supplements is that people are using it to cure something or to lose weight. No. It's biology that does all that work. You're just trying to help biology. There's no supplement that's going to make you lose weight. Doing on a weight loss diet is the last thing you should do to lose weight. Where you need to start is changing your relationship with food. That's where you start. And then the rest sort of takes care of itself. And I said that to Gary from the beginning.
Yeah, we went through several things to figure out what worked for me because of my lifestyle. I mean, I get here at 6:45 every morning. So by that time I've been up for about 3 hours.
Right.
2 to 3 hours. And then we were trying to figure out how to eat right for my lifestyle because I was going to bed at a certain time and I was eating
right a half hour before you go to sleep.
Right. And then we figured out we need to stop that. So I started really focusing on that.
And the relationship with food, what you eat, when you eat, where you eat, why you eat, with whom you eat, when you eat, and so on, all constitute your emotional connection to food, all constitute your relationship with food. And so that's where you begin. And when I first said to him that if you want to take on this goal, we need to talk about how to approach this. We're not going to talk about losing weight. We're going to talk about your relationship with food and what is that relationship and how should it change. And if you're going to use dietary supplements and you have osteoarthritis, you want to lose weight, you have high blood pressure, you have type 2 diabetes, and Dominique Ostrander is going to talk to you about today, you have low energy. She's going to talk to you about nicotinamide riboside. Let's say your energy is in the basement. She can help you, help your biology, help your body in the synthesis of energy, in the transformation of it with nicotinamide riboside. But ultimately, it's one of the materials by which your body can help do that. So that's what we're going to get into today. And along the way, we'll talk about use and misuse of supplements. So I focused on some misuse. One use is to help yourself feel better. From surveys, we know that people take supplements because they want to feel better. Well, stay tuned.
At Country Life Vitamins, we've been helping people live happy.
Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends: Virilomax, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension. Exclusively available on Amazon.com.
Dietary supplement use and products are common, no doubt about it. And in the contemporary world of health, wellness, and well-being, they are becoming a formidable dimension. And there's a lot of surveys about the use of dietary supplements. There's a recent study that I looked at over the weekend, published in 2016. They looked at trends in dietary supplement use among adults from 1999 to 2012 in that period. and they found out some very interesting things about dietary supplement use in that period of time. That somewhere around 52% of U.S. adults use dietary supplements, and that dietary supplement use increases with age. That's not surprising, with 72% of adults 65 years of age or older reporting use, compared with 40% of adults from 20 to 39 years of age. Women are also more likely to use supplements than men, and use was highest among non-Hispanic white adults and lowest among Mexican Americans. Education was an important variable in supplement use. 4 or more years, people that had 4 or more years of college compared with ended up using supplements more than those who had less than a high school education. So the use of supplements is correlated with certain demographic, psychographic factors. Its use. And the use is legitimate, but unfortunately, the supplements get misused, as we've been also mentioning. Dominique Ostrander is my guest, educated for Jarrow Formulas, has been for a number of years, and a regular guest on LTN. Dominique, welcome back. So one of the uses, one of the things that shows up in surveys on health, wellness, and well-being is people complain about not having enough energy. Hence, you have all these energy products out there. You could launch rocket ships with some of the chemicals that are used in these products. There's a safe way to feel better, isn't there?
For sure. And so the energy products, we're talking about a thermogenic type of energy. So I always give the example of like a Red Bull or something that acts as a stimulant. And then there's cellular energy, which is what nicotinamide riboside supports. So there's a huge difference. And I think that when you to go back to your analogy with the blocks that build the tools that build the house, we're talking about the tools that support cellular energy, which ultimately will lead to greater energy levels to get through your day. And the sort of irony is that the more energy people have, the better they sleep. It doesn't cause a disruption in sleep. It actually aids in sleep. So it's when people have low energy levels that they tend to have more sleep difficulties.
And people...
So supporting...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, supporting these energy levels on a cellular level with something like nicotinamide riboside is important for people that are really struggling, especially as you're getting up in age. You're getting, in 40s, 50s, 60s, and even your 70s, and all of those, that plays a part. And depending upon how stressed your life is, depending upon what you have going on environmentally, that plays a huge part too.
Yes, and as we age, the body's ability to nutrition is about metabolizing. It's about metabolism. And as we age, our ability to metabolize food into energy is not as efficient and proficient, and hence we have declining energy levels and feeling more lethargic than not. And of course, wrong diet, wrong lifestyle doesn't help either. So hence, that's why older people, or midlife and beyond, are so fixated on increasing, because it's one of the variables that really accounts for a lot of the variance for quality of life. If you don't feel energetic, your life is not as good, right?
Absolutely. And you made a very valid point about when we have energy in our cells, specifically our mitochondria are responsible for taking in food and then using it for energy, converting those nutrients into energy. And when our mitochondria are sluggish, worn out, they don't do that as efficiently. And it becomes harder as we age. That process in and of itself is present with aging.
Yeah, it's biology.
So we want to prevent that.
It's biology. Now,
exactly.
You have I know people that are deep into the life cycle, and I mean deep, 80s, 90s. They got more energy than they have sense. Leave a vital, vibrant life, still work, brains are intact. Their cognitive function is off the chain. They're sharp and bright. They're more the exception than the rule. And when you look at their diet and lifestyle, there's a correlation between what I just described and how they live and eat. That's sort of obvious. But let's talk about nicotinamide riboside. It's even hard to say. Is it a powder?
We call it NR.
NR.
We lovingly call it NR.
Yeah. NR. Is it a pill, powder, liquid, what?
It is a tablet, actually.
Mm-hmm. You have to take a lot of it.
Not really. Not really. Our serving size is 1 tablet a day. You can take 2. You can take up to 3 a day. It depends on what your needs are. Mm-hmm. And we have a newer one that's a little bit stronger than our original, and it's a sustained version where 1/3, 50 milligrams, is released in the body right away, and then 100 milligrams, or 2/3 of it, 100 milligrams, is released over an 8-hour period.
So I'm going to ask you to think about this during these commercial messages. Would there be some who could misuse that supplement, starting off on the right foot, but ending up wearing the wrong shoes?
Women who are pregnant or planning to have a child have specific nutritional needs. Maintaining optimal nutritional intake is important for mother and baby. Body Vigor's Preferred Prenatal can help mother and baby receive the appropriate building blocks for growth, development, and healthy function. The Preferred Prenatal formula provides essential vitamins and minerals, along with added support ingredients such as folic acid and DHA. Preferred Prenatal also incorporates a bonus herbal blend to help the mom-to-be with the uncomfortable side effects of pregnancy, like nausea, vomiting, mood swings, and uterine health. Support a healthy pregnancy for you and your baby with Preferred Prenatal, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Fatigue makes fools of us all. It robs you of your skills and your judgment, and it blinds you to creative solutions, close quote. Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition, quote by Harvey Mackay. Fatigue does do that. And, generally people know what fatigue is. It's a feeling of tiredness, a lack of energy. And it's a subjective feeling. It's a sign, it's a symptom, not a sign. It's a symptom. A sign is empirical. We can see it. We can measure it. Fatigue, it's more of a symptom. It's a subjective feeling of tiredness, where you have a lack of physical, mental, or emotional energy. A very common complaint, and it turns out it's like pain. They will do anything, almost, to correct it. From taking drugs that will, give you a false sense of energy, from amphetamines to whatever, to these energy drinks and whatnot. There's a more safe and effective way to do this. Proper sleep and rest, proper diet, dietary supplementation. Enter stage left, Dominique Ostrander, educated for Jarrow formulas, we're just talking about one thing here, nicotinamide riboside. You may have heard of it, may have not. Compound that has made its way into a supplement now from Jarrow formulas. Welcome back, Dominique.
Thank you.
So go ahead and continue your thought about NR.
Well, you had asked me before break, you had said, can anybody abuse this? Mm-hmm. Is there any way, and absolutely. So where people believe that taking more is going to provide more energy. And in this case, I think you have to start out like with all dietary supplements. You can always add, but you can't take away. It's the same thing with probiotics. Why pull out the big guns when you don't need to? Start small, start low, and you can always add. Take the recommended dosage, and then you can always increase it if necessary.
So, if you take too much, if they take too much, or if a person takes too much nicotinamide riboside, are there any consequences for that?
I don't know, honestly. I really don't know. I don't know of any studies where they've mass dosed it and found out what the consequences would be.
Right.
No idea. So that's not often done, really, in supplements.
Mm-hmm. But
there are recommended dosages that are done with studies. Mm-hmm. So, and the studies have been done with anywhere from 100 to 300 milligrams of nicotinamide riboside. Those are the study dosages.
Do people report a difference in the feeling of energy, having more energy when taking the compound?
They do. They definitely do.
And no other variable changed except that variable is introduced.
Exactly. Because when you have NAD levels that are high, so to speak, in comparison to low NAD levels, which we know are associated with sluggish mitochondria and mitochondrial dysfunction, you have low energy levels. You can't not have low energy levels because your mitochondria are not functioning correctly. And the NAD levels within the mitochondria are basically, like I say, they're like the gasoline that supports an engine, keeps it running. Mm-hmm. Just like ATP keeps the mitochondria, it's the energy of the cell. So when you have ATP, when you have NAD, you're keeping that mitochondria functioning at its optimum.
Mm-hmm. So we're clear, and this is a little sidebar, food equals energy, energy equals calories. Food equals energy, energy equals calories. That's why calories are important. Energy cannot be created, nor can it be destroyed. That it can only be converted from one form to another form. That's the law of conservation. That's the first law of thermodynamics. And this holds true for food. So the energy found in the chemical bonds of carbohydrate, protein, and fat have to be converted into some usable form for the body, so that the body can, biologically, physiologically, and whatnot, can do its work. So through a complex series of chemical reactions, carbohydrate, protein, and fat are broken down digestively into an absorbable form, then transported, converted, and used, stored into usable energy forms. The mitochondria is a place in the cell where a lot of this takes place. And nicotinamide riboside, how does it get implicated in the metabolism with the mitochondria?
Well, okay, I'll answer that. So when intracellular levels of NAD drop, and that usually happens with aging, the normal nuclear mitochondrial communication becomes disrupted, and so conversely, the raising levels of this this cofactor, it's been shown to restore mitochondrial function. And that also affects the sirtuin-1 pathways. And when you affect the sirtuin-1 pathways, like we talked about on the air before, you're mimicking the benefits of caloric restriction. Mm-hmm. And we know that caloric restriction has tremendous benefits as far as our cognitive health, cardiovascular health, telomere length, and so on and so forth. NAD levels that are decreasing over time, and excessive stress can do that also, but aging for sure, will decrease our cellular energy and not making us as efficient when it comes to calories that we're eating. When it comes to everything that requires, even our sleep patterns become disrupted as we age, and a lot of that has to do with mitochondrial dysfunction.
Okay. And it's also important to keep in mind that as energy is extracted from the carbohydrate, the protein, and the fat that you consume in the form of food, it's used to do it's used to make ATP, adenosine triphosphate. ATP. If there is no ATP, you die. There's no life. You need energy constantly to blink an eye or to move a boulder. You need energy. And ATP is an energy-rich molecule, and at any one time, the amount available or stored ATP in your body is about 85 grams or 3 ounces. That's only enough energy to fuel running full out for a few seconds. So you see, the body has to keep making ATP, but it needs the materials to do that. Is nicotinamide riboside involved in the ATP, Dominique?
Indirectly.
Indirectly. It's an indirect pathway. Mm-hmm. Okay. But ultimately,
because when you have NAD levels that are optimum and you have mitochondrial function that is optimum, you will have the presence of ATP.
You'll have, right. It's more. The manufacture of ATP is more efficient, and you're more productive. It's easier, biologically speaking.
Women who are pregnant or planning to have a child have specific nutritional needs. Maintaining optimal nutritional intake is important for mother and baby. Body Vigor's Preferred Prenatal can help mother and baby receive the appropriate building blocks for growth, development, and healthy function. The Preferred Prenatal formula provides essential vitamins and minerals, along with added support ingredients such as folic acid and DHA. Preferred Prenatal also incorporates a bonus herbal blend to help the mom-to-be with the uncomfortable side effects of pregnancy, like nausea, vomiting, mood swings, and uterine health. Support a healthy pregnancy for you and your baby with Preferred Prenatal, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Here's the LTN health question of the day. We'll get to Lansdale in a moment. Marlene is waiting patiently. We'll get back to Dominique Ostrander, our guest today from Jarrow Formulas. I mentioned a moment ago that food equals energy and that energy equals calories. There are only three macronutrients: carbohydrate, protein, and fat. Now, they contain energy or otherwise calories. Remember, food equals calories. Food equals energy, energy equals calories. Each one of those type of macronutrients has a certain amount of energy or calories per gram. Which one has the most calories per gram? Carbohydrate, fat, or protein? Now, this is one of those cases where I didn't give the answer. Which one of the macronutrients has more energy or calories per gram? Carbohydrate, fat, or protein? And the amount of calories per gram for the right answer is 9. 9 calories per gram. Which one of those macronutrients has 9 calories per gram? Carbohydrate, fat, or protein? Here's the number to call to win the prize.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
And the answer, the other two, one of them has 9 calories per gram. The other two have 4 calories per gram. Which one has 9 calories per gram? Carbohydrate, fat, or protein? Let's go to Lansdale, Pennsylvania. Marlene, welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition.
Good morning, Dr. Garco. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you for asking.
Listen, I have a question for your guest. The product that she's talking, is the same that you talked a long time ago about collagen, marine collagen?
No.
Because it's also for aging, right?
It can be for aging, but it's not about collagen. I don't think so. Right, Dominique?
No, not for collagen production at all, or supporting collagen.
You might, I talk about collagen. Vitamin C, by the way, becomes very implicated in the making of collagen. Okay? And that's a story for another day. There are many shows on my program where I talk about collagen and different products and different, diet and lifestyle to slow down that aging process. But in the formation of collagen, vitamin C is heavily implicated. So this nicotinamide riboside deals with energy in the main.
Okay.
Okay. How are you doing these days? You taking care of yourself?
Yes, and it's a rainy day today.
You're in Lansdale.
I've been thinking and praying for you, and I talked to the nuns about you, and they're praying for you too.
Oh, man. Thank you. Thank you. Let me take a minute here. Thank you very much for doing that. I'm grateful that you do that. And prayer is powerful. And you, God has been good to me and kind to me. And you have no idea how grateful I am to be sitting here listening to you say that. And I want to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for doing that. Thank you so much.
Okay, I will talk to the nuns about that too, that you thanks them too.
Absolutely. Pray for me. Thank you.
Okay. Have a nice day, doctor.
You too. Okay. That's why I do this show. People, one of the things I've concluded over this past year, that most of the time, most people are mostly good. And I believe that in my heart and soul. And
it chokes you up a little, don't it?
It does. I mean, I have a hard time composing myself when
because it's from the heart. It's not.
She doesn't know me from Adam's rib other than my relationship with her on the air. But for somebody to say that and take the time and tell somebody else
unsolicited,
I mean, that's humbling, man. That's why we do this show. That's what really health, wellness, and well-being is about. It's about life, and that's why I love doing this show. I'll do anything to do this show. I sacrifice much to do what I do here, to do this show, and And that's a choice. And it's a good choice as far as I'm concerned. Dominique, so it doesn't have anything to do with collagen, but it has a lot to do with energy, nicotinamide riboside. Do you take it with food or without?
Actually, it doesn't need food to take it at all. We suggest taking it on an empty stomach. It doesn't have to be. You can take it 1 to 2 tablets. We like to say you take 1 to 2 tablets with water before breakfast and between meals. So it's not one of those that require food. But I do want to make a very important point that Jarrow Formula's NR contains the very first patented and only commercially available nature bioidentical NR.
Nicotinamide riboside, and that's important. So a proper use here, people do use supplements for energy to feel, to have the subjective feeling of having energy. And it's important to have that feeling and to have the actual energy. It changes quality of life. It changes your ambition. It changes your motivation to do better in every aspect of your life. Walk into a nursing home. The levels of energy are flattened out because people are very sick. The body's trying to fight for its survival. It takes a lot of energy to do that. Yeah, you get it. Let's go to Marianne in Bradenton. Marianne, what's the answer? Which one of those macronutrients has the most calories per gram? Carbohydrate, fat, or protein? Fat, 9 calories per gram. Protein and carbohydrate have 4 calories per gram. So fat has a lot of energy in it. That's why one must be careful when eating a high-fat diet, especially constituted of fats that are not so healthy. Congratulations, you won a $25 supplement gift card to Vitamin Discount Center.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Dr. Garko, we feel the love and compassion and caring from you. So we have it for you also, because we learn a lot on this program. I never heard of NR before.
No, thank you. Well, you thank my guest.
You being there and giving out the information.
Well, thank my guest. She brought the topic to the stage today, and thank you for your lovely and kind words. They're heartfelt. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you too.
Bless you. There you go, Dominique. There's more than one listener appreciates learning about these new ideas, these new compounds, these new supplements. Jarrow Formula is on the forefront of that. Nicotinamide riboside sold in fine health stores throughout the U.S. If they don't carry it, request that they do. Your health is your wealth.